to Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Welcome back to the Scrapyard, friends. I'm your host, Barnabas Tone.
And this is me, your co-host, Frederick Allen Seto. And it's time for the Fans vs. ACs Challenge.
That's right, Al. And what's really exciting is we are now in the semi-final rounds.
And what's really exciting is Sassy Vee is the last member of Team Cartunes still in this competition. If Team Cartunes has any chance of making it to the finals, it's all in the hands of Sassy Vee. And again, she's not even old enough to get a license. Amazing. In fact, before this tournament, she thought the R on the gear shift stood for racing.
And looking to prevent her from getting to the finals is Team Scrapyard's very own Manny the Sportscope.
Very own what?
What?
Very own what? What does he do here? Why doesn't anyone know what he does besides wear a sports coat? What is his job? I am so lost as to what he does around here.
Great segue, Al. If any of you fans are also lost out there as to who's who in today's race, then we highly recommend you go back and watch all the events in our Fans vs. ACs Challenge playlist. And if you're new here, give us a like, or better yet, subscribe and share our videos with all the race fans you know.
Okay, enough talking. Let's get up to the guillotine gate and get this race started.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Here we are at the guillotine gate for the last race of the semi-final rounds. Remember, fans, the person with the most wins after 3 heats will advance.
Yeah, and if no one wins, we go into sudden death.
Now let's take a look at that starting lineup. On the right of your screen in the Ferrari F50 is Sassy Vee. And on your left in the 64 Chevelle Dragster is Manny the Sportscope.
What?
Well, it's gonna happen whether I want it to or not.
Oh! Speaking of sports coats, what do you call a largemouth bass in a sports coat? Sophisticated. Get it? Get it?
And now that that's out of the way, fans, let's start the countdown.
3, 2, 1, go!
They go wide.
Manny hits the wall.
Sassy Vee pulls ahead. Sassy Vee loses it.
Manny hits the wall. Wait, didn't I just say that?
She can't get that F50 restarted. This one's all over.
Well, Barry, there is so much pressure in these semifinals. Someone was bound to crack under the pressure. And I think in this round, they both did a Humpty Dumpty.
Well, Manny definitely miscalculated how close he was to the wall because he went into it hard.
Absolutely. That impact sent him back a full car length and all the way to the opposite side of the track.
I don't even know how his emergency shutoff didn't end his race right there.
Well, Sassy Vee wasn't going to wait around to see if his car shut off or not, because by the time Manny is going into the bottleneck, Sassy Vee is already exiting it.
And her lead just kept extending as she goes through Carmine Corner.
And then that's when the pressure gets to her. She gets loose once she enters Clunker Canyon and slams hard into the first metal barrier of the final straight.
But in her defense, remember, she's not even old enough to drive. Most kids her age are racing around on kick scooters, not Ferraris on the scrapyard.
Well, pressure or not, as she crashed, she was still with it enough to block Manny's path to victory.
Plus, it's with moves like that where she shows that she's a third-generation racer. From her rallying grandfather to her team captain dad, and now her.
And that move paid off because Manny, in his second miscalculation of the heat, misjudges the amount of room he has in Clunker Canyon and ends up sideswiping himself to a halt on the inside wall of the final straight.
And Sassy Vee tried hard to get that car going again, but it just wouldn't turn over.
And speaking of turning over, let's turn over that title card.
Well, fans, it seems like performance anxiety got the better of these two racers. Let's see if these two big red X's will help snap them out of it and get their heads back in the game for Heat 2.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Fans, we are back at the guillotine gate. Hopefully all those pre-race jitters have worked themselves out.
And mandatory lane change now sees the sports coat in his Chevelle on the right of your screen, and on your left is Sassy Vee in the Ferrari F50.
Safety officials have reset the clunkers and cleared the track. The countdown is clear to go.
3, 2, 1, go!
They are tight.
They're on each other like glue.
Sassy Vee flies off the track.
Oh no, she's on a roof. Where's the safety crew?
Sportscoat is a sportsman and pulls over.
Well, Barry, they went from pre-race jitters in Heat 1 to the extreme opposite end of the spectrum. This heat was pure aggression. Neither racer wanted to give up even a millimeter.
That's right, Al. Manny cuts in as soon as the guillotine gate opens up, and then Sassy Vee immediately counters and pushes right back into him.
It's like a tug of war, but instead of rope, they're using horsepower. Look at that in the bottleneck. Sassy Vee gets the sports coat against the wall.
But this is where Manny's experience gets the upper hand, because he uses that tricky exit of the bottleneck to execute a pit maneuver and sends Sassy Vee spinning into Carmine Corner.
And then, Manny sticks close to her on the inside of the turn and just gives her a tap, sending her crashing off the track.
That would have been a great move had he done it to anyone else. But Sassy Vee is just a kid. It seems a little cruel.
And speaking of crew, where was the safety crew?
I said cruel, not crew.
Whatever. Cruel, close enough. Wow, Bob, what happened? Didn't you see that accident? You guys didn't even budge.
We knew she'd be alright. Don't you recall? She had the same exact crash in race 6, and then she drove herself back up to the guillotine.
Yeah, but in that crash, she landed on her wheels, and on this one, she landed on her roof.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. She's a kid, and their bones don't fully harden until they turn 30.
What? That's not true. Plus, I think it's like 3, not 30.
I guess I forgot to carry the 1.
Gentlemen, please, can we get back on track?
Too soon, Barry. Too soon. Sassy Vee just crashed off the track.
Fine. Can we get back on topic? After Manny realized that maybe he went too hard on the kid, he did the right thing, pulled over to make sure she was okay.
Don't know why. Her bones aren't gonna harden for at least another 15 years.
That's not how that works.
But fans, this is how this part works. With that massive accident and Manny's sportsman-like forfeit, it's another set of red X's for both racers.
Scrapyard Diecast Racing.
Fans, we are back at the guillotine gate. One win here by either racer is a guaranteed ticket into the finals.
Win, Barry? Win? The way this race is going, I'll be happy if either of them can make it past Clunker Canyon. And what's up with this? They've been progressively lining up closer and closer. Didn't you see what just happened in the last heat when they got too close to one another? I mean, their cars are actually touching in this lineup. Is that even allowed?
Well, Al, there's nothing in the rule book against it.
Well then, the way this race is going, who even cares if the safety officials have cleared the track? Might as well start the countdown.
3,
Hey, I was just kidding.
2, 1, go!
Neck and neck.
What a block in the bottleneck!
Sassy Vee rockets through Carmine Corner.
No, I don't believe it!
Sassy Vee has a massive blowout and limps to a standstill within view of the finish line.
See, I told you! As I was saying before the title card interrupted me, Barry, they were way too close right from the start. I knew that would spell nothing but trouble, and it did. In all capitals.
I'll have to respectfully disagree, Al. This was very much in line with the type of action the fans of the Scrapyard have come to love and expect. They aggressively stick tight to one another on the downhill. Then Sassy Vee delivers an annihilating block in the bottleneck. She manages to flip and turn the sports coat in a way that his car is completely stuck between the guardrails at the end of the bottleneck. Then she bursts through Carmine Corner. However, she hit that uneven pavement coming into Clunker Canyon harder than she expected and had a blowout. And keep in mind that tire blowouts are nothing new here at the Scrapyard. Let's not forget that during last year's then vs. now challenge, the 2017 Camaro ZL1 had not one but 2 massive blowouts that cost him his shot at the title. And besides, Al, that was the last heat of the regulatory race. No one put up a win. Doesn't that mean we get to go to your favorite part?
Yeah, fans, I guess I have to give Barry credit where credit is due, because that blown tire has blown anyone's chance at a win. So that means it's time for... Sudden Death. Here we are back at the Guillotine Gate, and it looks like both racers had my commentary on in their headphones because now they're both a nice, safe distance apart from one another.
This is sudden death. There's nothing safe about it. And let me remind you and the fans, no safety checks, no officials clearing the track. Whatever happens, happens. The first one across the line wins.
Well then, let's not waste any more time and get this show on the road. Track.
3, 2, 1, go!
Sassy Vee blocks.
Manny flips.
Sassy Vee wrecks in Clunker Canyon.
This one is all over. I really thought someone was gonna make it across the line this time. I mean, look at that huge jump Sassy Vee got off the line.
It did look like Sassy Vee came to win, Al. She power drifts right in front of the sports coat, forcing him hard into the wall.
Maybe Sassy Vee is practicing her Picasso block. It's close, but Manny would have had to have been at least sideways for me to have counted it.
Even if it wasn't a full Picasso, it was still hard enough to slow Manny down to a standstill, further extending Sassy Vee's lead.
Absolutely, Barry. I mean, Manny's bell was rung so hard, he flips all on his own halfway through Carmine Corner. And we haven't seen that happen since Javardo Duarte all the way back in Race 1. Heck, I bet even his sports coat got turned inside out on that one.
Meanwhile, Sassy Vee continues to have problems coming into Clunker Canyon. She loses control, hits that last clunker, and forces her to slam hard into the first metal barrier of the final straight, narrowly missing the clunker cam by a few inches.
Thank goodness. Fans who just saw Race 1 of the semifinals know firsthand how tragic things can get when a racer crashes into one of our cameras. Well, while no one put a win on the sudden death scoreboard, at least we didn't lose any cameras, so that's a win for our filming crew. Sudden Death Heat 2. I guess we're not doing the mandatory lane changes anymore?
The first one back up to the gate gets to pick whatever lane they want. And it looks like the sports coat is trying to keep Sassy Vee on the inside because that's where he had the upper hand.
Is upper hand a nice way of saying sent her flying off the track and onto her roof?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. She's a kid, and their bolts is practically rubber.
Gentlemen, the only thing I want starting is this race, not the both of you.
3, 2, 1, go!
Sassy Vee leads.
Oh no, not again!
They both wreck after that calamity.
Where's the rescue crew? Why aren't we cutting to commercial? I'm cursed. I'm cursed! In the last round, I mentioned how lucky we are that no one crashes into the camera, then boom! Someone crashes into a camera! Maybe I shouldn't say boom until we know if everyone is okay. Can we just cut to that scene right now, Barry? Please? Just this once?
You got it, Al. Here we can see both racers skidding their way into Carmine Corner. Sassy Vee goes high against the outer wall. You know, Al, I can't be 100% sure, but I think she may have clipped the outer leg on camera tower 3.
Not only does that make the camera fall onto the high bank wall, but it causes a landslide. And look at the shot that we have from inside the camera tower. What a horror show! Not only do we not know the result of the occupants in the camera tower, but also if anyone got hurt in that landslide.
They were out getting donuts, and the camera tower was empty.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about, Wild Bob?
I'm talking about Police Chief Quimby and Security Guard Ralph were out getting donuts, so their cars was empty. See ya here. After Ralph and Eddie the Eel both got their boxes checked in the camera tower, we realized you could just hit record and then leave. No one needs to be in that tower at all.
Whoa, slow down. There's just so much to unpack there. Number one, Ralph was out with Chief Quimby getting donuts and their cars were empty?
Right.
So, security guard Ralph not dead?
What? Are you talking crazy? How would a dead man be able to get donuts?
So is it safe to assume Eddie the Eel is also not dead?
What? Of course not. He's a little worse for wear, but he's on the mend.
So in the last race...
when you said that they both had their boxes checked, that did not, I repeat, not mean that they died?
What in tarnations is wrong with you fellas that you keep thinking everybody is dead? We here at the safety crew have an office pool to try and guess who's gonna have the next accident at work. And in the last race, Chief Quimby had bet on the Eel and Ralph to win, place, and show. And since they both had mishaps in the same race, Chief Quimby won a bundle. And he decided to take Eddie the Eel and security guard Ralph out for coffee and donuts to share the wealth, considering he won as a result of their misfortune. And seeing as I'm the security chief, I signed off on it, figuring we wouldn't need as many hands on deck, considering that kid's bones is practically rubber.
That is not even close to how biology works.
You know what? I don't think my heart can take any more of this. Let's just cut to the scorecard.
And with that, no one wins. Well, I guess except Eddie the Eel and security guard Ralph for not being dead, as we thought they were in the last race. Fans, I am so rocked by what just happened, I don't even know if we should call this sudden death or instant life.
Sudden death.
Sudden Death, Heat 3.
Barry, you realize the only other race in Scrapyard history to go this many heats was Sassy Vee's first race against Mean Nino Eddie.
For someone who has never driven a car before, she is definitely racking up tons of track time.
And it looks like they're really taking my advice to heart, because Sassy Vee is lined up so far away from Manny that her whole car isn't even in the shot.
Fans, this could be the one to decide that final spot in the finals.
3, 2, 1, go!
Sassy tries to block.
Manny stalls!
Sassy Vee reversed into Clunker Canyon.
And she wrecks!
Sudden death.
Sassy Vee tried to block in the bottleneck, but the sports coat wasn't having any part of it, and he just powered through.
Look at that, Al. She was sideways at the exit of the bottleneck, and Manny still managed to push her through.
Yeah, talk about getting a square peg through a round hole. He did slow down a little, but he managed to send Sassy Vee into Carmine Corner in reverse.
I think that hit into the barrier did more than slow him down. He may have had a mechanical failure because he stalled right in the center of Carmine Corner.
Meanwhile, Sassy Vee did make it out of the turn, but smacks into the last clunker of Clunker Canyon. Luckily, she didn't hit it hard enough to have those loose clunkers come down on her head.
She would have been alright.
She doesn't have rubber bones.
And with that, no one wins. Again. And we're actually out of scorecard. So what do we do now, Al?
Honestly, I never thought any race would ever get this far. Just give me a second. Let me think. Ooh, I got it. Since it doesn't look like anyone is ever gonna cross the finish line today, we'll do one more heat. The closest one to the finish line wins. I even got a name for it. I'm gonna call it Instant Death. This is it, Barry.
This race has had it all, but now is the moment to see who wants that win the most.
3, 2, 1, go!
A Picasso!
Manny in reverse.
I don't believe it. Look at Sassy Vee. She's on the line. Talk about taking the rules literally.
I think we all need to see that again. One final replay.
So much just happened here in so little time, Barry. First, we need to talk about the Picasso right here.
It was beautifully executed, Al.
No, Barry, it was way more than that. This move was created and named after the fact that it was used on her father taking him out of the tournament. And who invented the move? The person she will now face in the finals, Nell 1. I think she's sending him a message that she's coming for him. In fact, I know she just practiced the move in the first heat of Sudden Death, but I'm gonna say it. I think she actually did it better than Nell 1.
Whoa, what exactly are you saying, Al?
I'll tell you what I'm saying, Barry. I'm throwing the gauntlet down right here. If she wins the finals, I'm renaming that move after her. Well, more for her. I'm gonna call that move the Wheat Mow if she wins.
Wow, that's huge, Al. Now there will be a lot more than a trophy riding on the finals. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Right, Barry. I'm gonna take my hat off to the sports coat. He's able to recover from that crushing block, throw it in reverse, and give Sassy Vee chase. He might have actually caught up to her had he not hit that clunker in Clunker Canyon, because that unfortunately sent him to a scraping halt into the outer wall of the final straight.
Now let's take a look at the way Sassy Vee took the rules of instant death to heart. She needed to be the closest to the line to win, and she stopped at the line.
Again, I think she's sending not just Nell 1 a message, but everyone. This whole tournament, people have been questioning her skills. There have been whispers that she only got this far because she lucked out by getting a bye into the second round. But let's not forget, her grandfather was a rally driver in Portugal, her father is team captain, she's got racing in her blood. And at this point in the tournament, she's completed 13 heats. That's more than anyone else in the tournament. She's telling the world Sassy Vee is here and she's ready for the finals. In fact, how about this? It was instant death, and Sassy Vee not only buried the sports coat, but put him out to dry. Wardrobe joke.
And in what was arguably the hardest fought battle in Scrapyard history, Sassy Vee moves on to the finals.
Barry, I have a feeling that is going to be one for the record books.
Until then, this is Barnabas Tone saying thank you and good night.
And I'm Frederick Allen Seto, saying thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join us again back here at the Scrapyard, but until then, thank you all for watching. If you haven't done so, give us a like, and please subscribe to the Scrapyard so you never miss a race.
And follow us on Instagram and Facebook for even more Scrapyard Diecast Racing action. So please join us next time for the next installment of
Fans vs. AC Challenge.
The Scrapyard Diecast Racing